Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to another edition of Beyond the Board Games Review. So today we're going to be taking a look at two expansions from the game Carcassonne. We have Carcassonne Inns and Cathedrals, and Carcassonne Traders and Builders. If you have not watched my first video talking specifically about Carcassonne, the base game, and the base core rules, make sure you check that video first, as I will only be talking about what these expansions bring to the table versus any core rules. So the first expansion we'll be talking about is Inns and Cathedrals, which actually adds a sixth player to the game. You can now play with 2 to 6 players, and apparently now ages 8 and up instead of 13. So when you open the box, let's guess what the first thing we'll see. Can you guess? Oh, directions, of course. So it gives you all the rules about what the new tiles can do, what the new followers can do. That's great. Just a lot of funky looking stuff. You can now have 100 and then keep going around the board yet again. So you can get up to 150, even 200 points now with these score trackers. That's a nice addition to the game. Another thing that comes with it are followers that are a bit bigger than the original base game followers. So let's see what all this cool stuff can do. So here's exactly what comes with the game. You have great pieces for a 6th player. You have 6 for each different color, big followers. You have 18 different new tiles added to the game, and 6 score tracker tiles. So the first new rule I'm going to talk about is the big follower. So let's say on my next turn, I place this city tile piece and put that big red follower in there. So what the big follower basically is 2 of the regular followers. So if this castle ever becomes the same castle as the gray piece would be worth 1 follower, and the red piece would be worth 2. Therefore, this would be the red player's castle, and the gray player would be taken out, and only the red player would score this castle. The first new tile I will be talking about is the Inn on the Lake tile. So as you can see, adjacent to this road, we have an inn with a little lake. So what this means is when you place it, if you end up completing this road, your thief will now score double the points for that road. So instead of this being worth 3, it is now worth 6 because it is adjacent to an inn on the lake. However, if I place this inn on the lake here, and this road never gets completed, instead of each road being worth 1 at the end of the game, it is now worth 0! The last new piece I will be showing you is called the Cathedral. Now the Cathedral functions the same way inns on lakes do for roads, except they do it for cities. So if I put this with a city, and this city gets completed, each tile is now going to be worth 3 instead of 2, adding 1 point to each city tile. However, if it remains incomplete, like so, then this city will be worth 0 incomplete points at the end of the game. The game comes with 6 Inn on the Lakes and 2 cathedral pieces. To me, Inns and Cathedrals seems more of what should have been included in the base game rather than an expansion. It all seems like, well, now we can keep track of the score a little better, or now we have 2 followers in a place instead of 1. I mean, I like the big follower. I like the inn on the lake. I like the cathedral. I like the score trackers. They all just seem very basey to me. It all seems like they added very little to the game through this expansion. That being said, I do highly recommend getting this expansion because it's what the base game, I feel, should have been. The next expansion, which is Traders and Builders, is a little bit more, well, it adds that a little bit more depth to the game. Not much. It's still an extremely simple game. It just adds a little bit more flavor to the game versus Inns and Cathedrals, which really is just a little bit more of the base game in another box. So, when we open the box, the first thing we see is, of course, directions. Now, I've took out the insert because I wanted to be able to fit everything, but the instructions tells you what everything's in, it tells you the rules. We already know that. We know what instructions are. Alright, so, first really cool thing is it comes with this cloth bag now, which you can put all your neat new tiles in. Not even your new tiles, all the old ones fit in it too. Actually, all the expansions I have now, I can fit every tile in this bag. It's a tight fit, but it fits. What I really liked about this expansion, well, first there's 25 new tiles, which is great. I love adding new tiles to this game. But what's really cool is now instead of just saying, oh, we have a follower and he's going to be in the city and he's the knight, but, you know, they all look the same. All the followers are the same. Well, now we've got these new pieces. These are the pigs. The pigs look really good. They look really cool. And then you've got these trade goods. You've got wheat, you've got ribbon, and you've got the barrel. Let's say I have a follower in this city. If I put another city piece on here, I have the option to place a builder in this city with my other follower. Now when I draw a tile and place it to make this city a little bigger, since my builder is in this city with my other follower, I'm allowed to now take a second turn and draw another tile. Now, even if I do place it again in this city, my second tile, I can't draw again. But the builder is a significant advantage if you can get him on the board, because now you can take 2 turns instead of 1. The next piece, which is the piggy here, he can go in the same farm as you already have a farmer. So, if I put that there, I can put this pig in the same farm. And what that does is at the end of the game, when you score this farm, each city it touches is going to be worth 4 instead of 3. The last new rule in this expansion is these 2 symbols of wheat. So if I end up completing this castle, not if I was in it, but if I'm the actual player who lays this tile, I'm going to get 2 wheat. So now this gives an incentive to other players to actually complete other players' castles, because if you do, you may end up getting wheat goods. What do wheat goods do? Whoever has the most of a specific type, say wheat, barrel, ribbon, whoever has the most at the end is going to get 10 points for that specific symbol. I can say honestly that Traders and Builders is a very good expansion. Carcassonne can start to get dry after you've played it quite a few times. For me, when you add in Traders and Builders, that added another element with the pigs and the builders. It added another level of strategy, giving incentive to complete other players' castles, yet it was still simple, which is what I love so much about Carcassonne, is that it's very simple and fast. So if you're thinking of choosing between one of these two, it depends. If you want to play with 6 players, I would definitely go with the Inns and Cathedrals, because then you can play with 6 players. It does add new elements with the cathedrals and the inns and whatnot. However, if you don't usually play with 6 players and you have fewer numbers, I would recommend getting Traders and Builders. Like I said, this is just basically what was left out of the base game. This is an expansion, so take that as you will. I recommend getting both of them if you enjoy Carcassonne.